So, I don't usually start these videos by saying that it's a special one or whatever, because I have that goofy little intro that I kind of like to put at the start of each one. But this one is indeed a bit special. Not only is it the 10th one, so we're now into double digits with these retarded ass videos, but I get to test the, objectively speaking, the best two cars in the game, and also two of my favorite ones. So yeah, welcome everyone to Greater Bait, the goofiest series on YouTube, the greatest yapping session on YouTube. Welcome to episode 10, where today we get to take a look at the Mosler T900S and the McLaren F1 GT. Two incredibly special vehicles that I always knew would be very, very good, so I kept them for a later episode. But I think the time has finally come. So let's go on. Let's start with the first one, and I picked the Mosler to start things off. And you're gonna notice the trend in this video where I just praise these cars, like I praise the fuck out of these cars on pretty much every single occasion, and for good reason, because these two are, spoiler, the two best cars in the game. And they're also the two highest scoring drift cars I've tested so far, which is just insane. And this is my first Mosler run here, and this is already the highest score, or it would be the highest score on the sheet. And there are 3 more scores that you're gonna see in this video, and they're all higher than that. So yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. And sure, I guess I played quite a bit on this zone and I got more consistent, but I don't know, I feel like I just nailed this car in the F1 GT in terms of the way you're supposed to approach them on this zone. I feel like my runs were not only solid, but the car as well is just so good. So yeah, I'm getting close to that 145, but with a 144.7, I just can't give it any less than 9.5 out of 10. It is insanely good. And fun fact for those people that don't know, this is the 3rd fastest car in the game, without any sort of other run-ups that involve going downhill on the mountain or wheelies or any glitched weight glitch things or whatever. I might do a video on that later and explain how that works. But this is the 3rd fastest car. It'll do 296 miles an hour flat, but I only got 295 in this video. So yeah, 9.5 out of 10. I can't really give it any less. It's just so fast, and it's also not that bad in terms of acceleration. Like, it is pretty goddamn decent, I would say. It is around as quick as a Mosler. Too bad it just has a, pretty terrible launch comparatively speaking. But yeah, still 8.5 out of 10. Not too bad. It is also, as you would imagine, pretty goddamn quick around a track. Now, the Mosler, unlike the other car that we're going to test, the F1, the Mosler has a bit more natural grip and downforce, and that helps it quite a bit. It's a bit more understeery than the Mosler. The Mosler is a bit more on the oversteer side, but they're both incredibly good in as X-Class and as S2. They both hold, I think, all the world records in S2 that are sprint based, like this in the F1. They share them. So this lap was a 41.777 or whatever, and I believe this lap here is a 41.5. So it puts it around the same as the Neo, as the CLK. So these very solid cars that are like, they're not meta, of course. Like, meta is, I'm talking BTTB and whatnot. That's like 4 whole seconds faster than this. But it's still very solid. And keep in mind, this thing would destroy any CLK/BTTB on a sprint or on anything that requires some straight line speed. So yeah, it's great, man. It's fantastic, even for grip. So again, for getting a 41.4 guess according to the sheet here, I was supposed to give it a 9 out of 10, and I will. Okay, here is another another. I guess this is the bigger surprise of this car because oh yeah, by the way, this is S2. I feel like maybe I could build it for X class, but I don't really think I could have built it to be faster just because it's not exactly easy. So I just went with what I think is the fastest shared tune out there. Props to Fenrir for this tune because it's fucking amazing. But this car is ridiculously fast off-road, man. I had no clue. I thought the Mosler was like only usable for road, but I got to test it in this clip, and I was flabbergasted. It is so good. It's got so much grip. Why does it have so much grip? Why? It has no business having so much grip off-road. Like on road I understand, but I don't know how it has so much off-road. So for getting a 56.6, I can't give it any less than a 9.5. It's ridiculous. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the Mosler is the highest rated car, the best overall car in the game right now, with a 46 out of 50, aka a 9.2 out of 10. It is so good. It is, I would say, the best rounded car, because the difference between the lowest and the highest grade is just 1. If you take a look at the sheet, it is so good. I genuinely recommend using this car for pretty much anything you would ever need, because it'll do the job to an excellent degree. And I mean, its weakest point is its acceleration, which is still quicker than 90% of cars. So yeah, but let's move on to the highly anticipated McLaren F1 GT. And I kept this one for last because I wanted to test this as late as possible. I wanted to gain as much experience from these tests as possible, because going in, and even when I started the series, I knew this would be the best car in the game. I just knew it, and I was not disappointed to find out that it is. And wouldn't you know it, it also well, what I didn't expect was actually to get the highest score on this drift zone with it. It scored higher than the Mosler somehow, and I genuinely don't understand how. On paper, it has everything it needs, but I don't know, man. So there's a 144.7 already, and the next run is going to be a 144.8. And I gotta say, I don't think this run is any amazing. I don't know what it is about this car, man, that makes it so good. This can easily get 148 on low FPS, and yeah, it's just so good. It's so smooth as well. I had a little bit more fun in the Mosler because that one wouldn't cooperate as much. This one would, but yeah, 9.5 for the highest scoring car so far. It's so stupid, man. Why is it so good? This is where I hit a little bit of a roadblock, I guess, in my test, because it's a very fast car. Don't get me wrong. It's like in top 10 fastest cars in the game. Maybe 15 at most, but I would say it's in the first 10. But I was gonna give a 9 out of 10 to cars that can score 469 or /470 plus. This car does, only if I get a perfect run, but I don't have time for that in these tests. So 468 is all I could do, which is an 8.5. You could say it's a 9 out of 10, I guess, but I guess it just wasn't its lucky day. Here's where it is its lucky day. So thank you, Shark, actually, for sending me this run, because this is a sub 12 drag strip run, which, oh yeah, and this is not cheating. This is simply to make sure that the frames are rendered more accurately, but it's still a 10 out of 10, man. It's so quick. Okay, now that we've moved on to this car's arguably lowest, I don't know, I guess top speed is its lowest point, but it is not the fastest around the track, but just because it has that ridiculous acceleration, it gets carried. So of course this is X class. I just can't have this thing in S2. It's gonna be way slower. I went for I don't know what I... Oh yeah, I don't think this car actually has any engine swaps, if I remember correctly. So I just went for whatever the lightest thing I could do to it. With like maximum aero and oversteer settings and whatnot. And it was pretty fast. So that was a 41.8, I think. And this is going to be a 41.5. So it was just slightly slower than the Mosler. I just considered them about the same pace. Which makes sense. I mean, they do share all the world records in S2, and not evenly. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. It's not even, of course, but this car excels on some tracks, the Mosler on others. Man, I'm just yapping at this point. Everybody already knows this, but yeah, it's very good. It's very fast. It gets carried by the acceleration, like I said. No wonder it's a 10 out of 10. But yeah, 9 out of 10 for grip. It does an amazing job. That's all I can say. But I can't say that for dirt, because amazing would put it lightly. Well, I'm gonna praise this clip a lot because when I tested the CLK last week, I obviously got a personal best on the S2 Rivals track on Teotihuacan, or whatever you pronounce it. And I mean, no wonder. It's the meta on that track. I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, I finally got a good PP. I probably won't beat it unless I revisit it and whatnot. Well, guess what? this car beat that for some reason. Obviously, it marginally did. It beat by like less than 0.1, but still, the fact that this beat the CLK on this track in 10 laps. I swear to God, it only took 10 laps. Just look at the top left. It's so good. It has such a stupid amount of power and grip. Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10. I don't know, man. It beat the meta. Okay, so there it is. The best car in the game, hands down. The McLaren F1 GT, 47 out of 50 for 9.4 out of 10. If you compare these two to literally anything else, it's hardly any comparison, really. Realistically speaking, I think there are no other cars that will even come close to like a 40 out of 50 at this point. There's maybe like 2 or 3, but that's about it. These two are undoubtedly the 2 best cars in the game, and I had such a blast testing them. I'm sorry, not a lot of people requested these, but I really wanted to test them. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.